think one of the interesting things is the production process and how you're dealing in a production process that you really can't articulate to people from traditional media. So Greg, what's interesting to me is, and I think I've been struck this year, and I don't know if anyone else has, that J.J. Abrams and the Lost team, as they were going through this exodus of fans, because they weren't responding to specific concerns about the show, started to integrate some of the things that their user groups were saying about the show and answering questions directly through the voice of character. So one of the things, Greg, I'm really interested in hearing from you is what your production process is, how loose you keep it so that as things begin to develop online from your fan and user base, that you're able to integrate that into the production process. I mean, obviously you have to keep a pretty firm trajectory around the characters and the story arc, but you know, clearly you're integrating those things. Vicki, I'm interested in knowing how you, in news and information, how do you vet stories? Like if I'm, you know, if my neighbor is a guy who's making a shed and every time he hits his finger he turns green and ends up wearing capri shorts and he's running around screaming, and I say that's a great news story and I send that to you, how do you check that source? How do you vet that source, knowing your old traditional processes? And for Claude, I think, sorry, the traditional process. And for Claude, are you having development executives at Alliance Atlantis viewing the content that you're seeing on Blog TV and thinking about how you might then extend that into actual television content and broadcast content? Not that broadcast content is the holy grail or anything, but obviously there's going to be ideas that are being shared there that might ultimately impact the way in which you program your broadcast channels. And it would seem to me that that would be a real strong point of differentiation that blogtv.ca would bring Alliance Atlantis. So if you could talk about those things, I'd love it.
Hey, let me know. Don't worry, we'll get you up there. That's a great question. We are 100% responsive to the community. So in terms of production schedule, I mean, we basically write scripts one week, shoot them the next week, edit and upload them the week after that. And so we're never really more than 2 or 3 weeks behind seeing what's being uploaded and seeing how the community is responding to it. So it gives us a massive amount of flexibility to see if fans hate where the storyline is going, to tweak it. In addition to that, we actually will do things where if we have a puzzle in a video, we will shoot, say I'm uploading a video next Tuesday that has a puzzle in it. We will shoot the video today, and we will edit it, but we will leave like a 10-second space open in the middle. And then next week, Monday night, the fans will solve the puzzle. So Tuesday, the video is supposed to go up. We'll have our actor come in that morning, and in between that 10-second spot, he will say, "Hey, Tom from, you know, Ottawa, thanks so much for helping us do that. Now we know what's going on." So it's like, you know, we shoot the entire thing in my parents' house. We shoot it on, you know, handheld Panasonic and webcams, and it's very easy to be reactionary. And then in addition to that, I go on the website every day and I kind of hold like chat sessions where fans can come and ask me any question they want about the story, you know, the website, anything, basically anything they want to ask me. So we are in 100% constant communication with the community.
And in terms of what we do in the production process, I mean, there's quite a large team looking at all this content, and I think anyone going into, in the news environment, user-generated content, has to have staff to look at it. I think that the verification process is absolutely critical. So my team's about 25 people. 13 of those people are in what's called a user-generated content hub. And basically their job is to verify all this material. So if you email a story to them, it's just journalism. They email you back and say, tell us more. And if it sounds a genuine story, then they pursue it and check it out in exactly the same way as you'd have done with a tip-off from, you know, in a local newspaper or whatever. But I think verification is absolutely critical. In terms of pictures, there's a few things you can do just to check, you know, that it doesn't appear on any other wires. Lots of people sometimes send us pictures that are already out there belonging to agencies. So you can do checks to see it doesn't exist, things like that. But you know, the best way to check if something's genuine is to get back in touch with the person and check out their story. And you need people to do that.
Yes, production executives are looking at what the broadcasters are doing on the site. Some broadcasters are extremely compelling and talents in themselves. We actually have a production company now that works often with us, Breakthrough, who is using Blog TV for finding a host for What's for Dinner. So You know, you can do those kinds of things. I'm glad that you had the writer about let's not do television as the holy grail, because there is a tendency to say, well, you know, this kind of activity here, this platform, is merely a farm team for the big show, and that, of course, is I think both elitist and paternalistic with regards to this. And I know you and I share the same view. But you know, it can fail when you move from the medium of user-generated content or web production to television. I'll just give you one example where I think just subjectively it has failed. I was a massive fan of Rocket Boom when Amanda Cogden was doing her daily quirky news show. She got scooped up by ABC News, and now she's kind of a web journalist on ABC News, and she has been in effect framed and put in a box, and she's boring now. When I tell you, she wasn't boring before. So it can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.